So this video I just want to give a quick overview of the results information within the results request tab, and also a bit of detail on how we can customize some of these views to make them more personable to you and your Lorenzo experience. So briefly on this first list view, which will present to you when you first log into Lorenzo if you've not made any changes, you'll notice that there's some colourful rows here, each denoting different types of tests that have been taken. What you'll see here is any returned results into Lorenzo, which also go into ICM. If any requests were made from ICM, you wouldn't actually see the request here until the results returned, and similarly you wouldn't see the request in ICM that's been placed in Lorenzo until the result's been returned. So I can see that there's a pending specimen collection here. There's a request that's been made. So there's no plus button here to see what that particular return result is. However, this FBC from last month, we can click this little plus button and it will show us the information for that particular result, for that particular test. You'll note that the case here is bold and a sentence case here. Anything that's bold just means that I personally haven't seen that test, I haven't seen that result. So if I do press this plus button and have a look at the results from U&E, I'll notice that the information's there, and if I close that back up, you'll see that the text has changed, which means now I've seen that result. And at the top of the screen here, I've actually not seen 200 of this patient's results. It will vary very differently between clinicians, and there's 6 unacknowledged results in this information as well. The exclamation mark here denotes that there's abnormal results, and if we open that up, you'll see by these little arrows up and down what's abnormal or very abnormal. If they're double arrows, we can close that back up. And on this page there isn't actually any unacknowledged results, but that would show in this column here with a question mark and a tick there for them to be performed. So that's the list view. There is also a tabular view, which is null at this stage. In order to populate that, we were able to either use a custom filter, or easier still, here's the filters here, or easier still is going to the list view and just selecting what it is that you want to view in a tabular form, and you'll be able to see that information there for that one particular type of result. And again, the default period here is changed to all, which is very useful for that tabular view. But by and large, if I go to the results table, you'll see that the period of results returned is just 3 months. You are able to change this from 3 months to 6 months to a year, or customize it using these dates. Once you've made those changes, make sure you press this little green button here, which will then return those results. So this is the most sort of common area where people will just at a glance want to see some of these results, denoted by the order of U&E, liver profile, CRP, FBC, and then below that is anything alphabetical. You can see because we've done that for 6 months, but if we do it for all and press the green button again, this will return all results that are available in Lorenzo, which will date back to 2011. You can see there as we go through, we've got coagulation as well as FBC, and then below that is alphabetical. If we just go back towards the top of the screen, you'll see that there's some grey shady areas here, these shaded areas. This just means that these results are actually available further down below. So as you can see there, there's 96 for creatinine level there, and as we scroll down, we should be able to see that that was actually taken here within this biochemistry, and again 96 there. So the shaded areas are just to give you a quick overview that they might be repeated within this particular column, in this particular date column. If you wish, you can plot results on the on a chart. So I'll just take potassium and sodium, for example, here, and click this plot results at the top of the screen. It will put both of those onto a chart view, which then, because I've left it as all of the period of date range, it goes all the way back from when this was first started being resulted, so back to 2012, and you can see how that works over the last sort of 8 years. You can unplot any of these and replot them as you wish. If we go back and click the view tabular data, again we can reduce this period of time from all to, for example, just a year, and then if we plot the results again, it will just give us a bit more of an acute period of time to check on, and each of these points are interactable, so if you hover over these dots, it will tell you the date of the result and the actual result itself, as well as the range that result should come back in as normal. I'll go back to tabular view. Then you've also got these broken down into radiology, gases, microbiology, human coags. So do feel free to have a look at these ones to see if they're of use to yourself. Radiology ones, for example, if I can click on that, you'll be able to see the any x-rays that have been performed or any ultrasounds, and within that you can open up the investigation information, and there's also a PACS image available where you can click this row here and it will open PACS and you'll be able to see that image. I'll just minimize that again, and if I go back to the results table, so as I mentioned, these have been sorted and grouped together. These top items of U&E, liver profile, coagulation, blood count, and CRP, they're sort of the top 5 favourites, so to speak, as suggested by the organisation. But you are able to change these, and we'll go on to how you change these now. So within the standard Lorenzo here, if I just set this, press this button, it will go to manage my profile. Now we're going to do a couple of things here. The first thing is quite easy, and it's quite a sensible thing to do. This is where you can input your phone number or a contact detail within the area of the request form. So when you place a request, you'll note that there's a mandatory field where it needs some contact information. So you can manage the contact details here. So as you select manage the contact details, the first thing that Lorenzo requires is an address. So if I select this row, I've already built mine. I've just simply made the address as Royal Derby. Again, use London Road Hospital if you're on that premises. And I've ticked this as being my communication address, and you can add that or update that as you so need to. You then move on to the contact details, and what I've done here, you don't need all of this information, you just need one. So suggest would be a telephone for work, and pop in the details here, so extension 1234. Make it your primary contact, make it your default contact, and add that to this row here, or update if you've already got some information there. Now it's important that the phone number you put here is one that you consistently use, or a consistent number to contact you if pathology or radiology do need to get in touch. Don't put a clinic phone number in here, because that will always carry forward into your wherever you are when you're placing requests. If you do need to use clinics, or you do put in a clinic each time, leave this completely null. Don't make any changes here, and just update that each and every time you place a request. Otherwise, manage your contact details here, put in a number, make sure it's primary, make sure it's default, add that in, and press finish. Then we're going to move on to my settings here on this side of the screen. And the ones that we're going to look at in this particular area, 5 from the bottom, results configuration. So we're going to click this until we get to detailed results tab, configuration. And this is where you can make some changes to make this a better experience of Lorenzo for yourself. So if I select this row here, the list view. this tells me that this is the default tab, and it shows it on screen for me as well. So I do want to see it, but I don't want this to be my default. So I'm going to change this from default yes to no. I'm then going to move on to the results table. And in the results table, I do want this to be my default tab. So I'm going to press yes here. As you can see, the default period is the last 3 months. This might be a little bit too short. You can extend it up to a year. You can put all results available there. I wouldn't suggest you do that because it will take some time for Lorenzo to search all of that information. It could cause any errors or Lorenzo freezing. So I'm just going to choose a year. And also on this side of the screen, as I said, there's the sort order, the top 5. So I can move the FBC towards the top if I think that's more sensible for me to see. And I can move the CRP up. If there's things as well that interest you as a clinician that you want to see up at the top of the list of the results table, you can use this ellipsis button here to search for more types of requests. So for example, start typing along and put the percentage symbol in, press find, and you'll get a returning of all of the information there with that word or partial word. So I'm going to choose these two and press OK, and I'm going to move actually one at a time, put these towards the top of the screen. If you're struggling to find what it is that you need, you can use a wildcard, the percentage symbol at the beginning, and you can then put one at the end, and the word in the middle will then search anywhere where that word chain appears in this text. So if you're unsure of how things might be labelled or worded in Lorenzo, you can use these percentage symbols as a wildcard, and it will look for the word chain in any of this information here. I'm not going to add any more. At this stage, I'm not going to make any more changes. I'm happy with the changes that I've made, and I'm going to go and press save. Make sure you press save or it won't save. I'm going to press OK, and then press these sort of the cross at the top of the screen on the left there. Yes, I'm sure I do want to leave. I am leaving. Now those changes won't be picked up until you log off and on again. So just log off. So I've returned back into this patient's record. You'll notice I went from the medication, which is my default button when I open a patient's record, and I've gone to click on the results and request button, and you can see now that I've defaulted to be on the results table as we changed in my standard Lorenzo Manage My Profile here. It's also the period of last year, and you can see that because I chose cortisol blood and I wanted that towards the top of the screen or at the very top of the screen, it's now sorted this differently. So I've got cortisol level there, followed by FBC, and then followed by UNE and how I left that. And you can do that with any sort of request or result that's available in Lorenzo and move them towards the top of the screen. So hopefully that was a useful, if not long video, but one that you can start having a look at managing my profile and making Lorenzo actually work for you and remove a number of clicks to get to the area that you need to be in.